Hello, everybody, and welcome to Non Sequitur News. It's a time machine episode for March 7th, 2025. I am Mayor Watt, and usually the sentient AI is with me, but they are not available for the time machine. Today, we're going to talk about 10 articles because it's non sequitur. None of it ever makes sense, So, Minecraft Live returns. Then we're going to talk about Ford storm of recalls. Walgreens goes private. World War II bomb in Paris, the smallest park, intuitive machines moonlander, tourist tax at UK museums, turnaround transatlantic flight. Wait, I can think I won millions and make money? And least hated printer takes a turn. That and more over at ohmtown.com. Go over and become a citizen, but be sure to follow us here on Twitch and YouTube. We stream every day to both of them unless Mayor Watt gets pulled away. I had mayoral duties that I needed to attend yesterday. And so we're doing a time machine episode. It'll be posted over on YouTube and as a podcast. There are 7 podcasts, so much more. So stick around. See you on the other side of the intro. All right, everybody. Hello. So I am Mayor Watt. I run ohmtown.com. It is a news aggregation site that manages my information overload, and I use it every day. And in exchange for its use, I talk about the news. 10 articles every day, along with the sentient AI from the future. There's a whole canon there. You have to go back and listen to all 1,900 plus episodes of the show. Yeah, we've got a lot of shows. We've been doing this now this is the 4th year. So be sure to follow us, tell a friend. Hope you dig this show. Hang out and chat. You can ask questions, comments, etc., etc. But stick around. It is only an hour, and so I get it that a lot of people don't want to hang out for just an hour. But the weekend shows are usually over an hour and a half, but they're broken into 3 30-minute shows, roughly. Sometimes we run long. But all of it can be downloaded as a podcast, separate or combined as non sequitur news weekend editions. Yeah, we do a lot of stuff. Anyway, the first article that we're going to talk about is over in the WarCrafters channel, which is a show on Saturday. It's on Sunday mornings at actually afternoons, 4 p.m. Is typically when we do it. I'm actually late to doing it on Saturday, but anyway, WarCrafters is a gaming show. We talk about computer games. And any game, actually. I'm not really limited to computer games, board gaming, and whatnot. Anyway, Minecraft Live returns in March with everyone's favorite kind of content, exclusive movie content. Minecraft Live, the annual online showcase for all things Minecraft, is set to return on March 22nd, just 2 weeks before the launch of a Minecraft movie. And yes, it promises to include exclusive movie content. Maybe it won't. We won't need to download a mod to get Jack Black's voice into Minecraft after all. All right, so Jody McGregor over at PCGamer.com put the article together, and it says, will they find a way to make villagers look even more freakish? No. So it was announced with a dance video that references Michael Jackson's Thriller and Daft Punk Around the World, and climaxes with the unsettling sight of the Enderman flossing. Something for 3 generations of Minecraft fans there. If there is also, or was also, a reference to the dance craze from the 70s, they missed it. Apologies to the Gen X elders. I don't know what they're talking about. I haven't watched this, but there is an announcement trailer over on the YouTubes. You can go and check that out. But the article basically says what I've just been kind of repeating. Minecraft Live will be broadcast at minecraft.net/live at 1 p.m. Eastern on Sunday, March 22nd. Let's keep going. The next article. And these can be downloaded. These links, if you want to follow along, you'll be able to go over to twitch.tv/ohmtown. And in the chat there, you'll be able to type in !NSN. That isn't something where I have to be live or we have to be live. It's actually running right now. You can post over there. You can do that command over there. There's also !pod, and !shows that tell you all about our shows, and the commands to initiate a poll from Omatron of what that show's latest news build is. The next article is over in Four Wheel Tech. It's about Ford that issues a storm of recalls on the Maverick, F-150 Expedition, Navigator, Escape, Corsair, Mach-E, Lightning, and EcoSport models, and it dates all the way back to 2020. Issued an incredible 8 recalls in a single day, affecting tens of thousands of vehicles dating as far back as 2020. So what is it all about? Over at Jalopnik.com, Brad Brownell puts the article together. 5 of the 8 recalls are aimed at Ford's diminutive Maverick pickup, though half a dozen other models of Ford and Lincoln are also affected as well. What are they? None of the recalls come with an attached stop use notice, so they'll probably aren't anything to be drastically worried about, they say in the article. So there's a recall for the Mavericks. A full 933 trucks built between 21 and 23 potentially have an issue with the instrument cluster failing to display safety-related information. A smaller group has issues from August 2021 to October 2022, didn't get proper update from a previous recall. And another update requires V12 battery state monitor. The Mach-E's have a recall. F-150s have a Lightning battery. Been affected by a manufacturing defect for a high voltage battery cell, potentially causing a short. So you'll have to go and get that checked out. And then everything else. If you have a Maverick hybrid, Maverick hybrid, Escape hybrid, Lincoln Corsair hybrid, it's possible that the previous recall to your powertrain control module was not updated correctly, and it could cause a problem, like I shifted to neutral without warning. So that's always fun. Let's keep going. This is something that I talked about on the 6th that I knew because I did a time machine episode for the 6th, so I warned everybody. Walgreens is going private in a $10 billion deal after being publicly traded for nearly a century. And this is the scream of ever profitable, leading to it being too expensive to run a 100-year-old business. And then because of that, it goes private equity, where somebody is going to sap it of all of its value and break off portions that allow the equity firm to manage it with its special expertise, which is basically sucking value from it. So for the private equity investors. So Walgreens has agreed to a $10 billion deal to go private with Sycamore Partners. Walgreens' market value has dropped from $100 billion in 2015 to about $9.8 billion today. Now the company is going private in a new deal. Yeah, so you're not going to make any money. If you've been holding on to this, then hopefully you've made your money and bowed out. But at any rate, Walgreens has been publicly traded since 1927. Over the past decade, the store has faced persistent financial challenges. This is all supply chain management stuff that they should have been an expert in and locking things down in, but apparently not. Go out and price things now, because within 2 years, there's going to be dramatically less options there, and everything is going to be more expensive, because within 5 years, an equity company has to have its money back. 3 years is preferred. If I'm wrong, I'll be surprised, but don't be surprised if you see what amounts to little white folding tables, and then who knows what's going to take over Walgreens, because Walgreens is going to collapse, I'd say. The Sycamore buyout would take Walgreens private and give it more room to improve its U.S. business without public scrutiny, which, what the frick does that mean? It says, while we're making progress against our ambitious turnaround strategy, meaningful value creation will take time, focus, and change that is better managed as a private company. No, what's better is a company that can support itself and provide service to people at a reasonable cost. Now, did this actually take place? It doesn't seem like buying up and pricing out, phasing out local pharmacies and grocery stores has led to it being a better deal. I just don't see it. Suppliers, their downward pressure is from competition. So when there is no competition, prices can go through the roof. And when a private equity firm is the only competition, let's make a list of all of the competitors to Walgreens, and let's see what all shakes out from that. And if you include the pharmacy side of it, that's another matter. That's driven by a completely different economic. So we'll have to look at that separate. It is a separate entity unto itself. Anyway, let's keep on going. But mark my words, Walgreens prices are going up. So the next article is over in Non Sequitur News. Unexploded World War II bomb in Paris halts Eurostar travel to London. Eurostar trains to London and all trains heading to northern France have been brought to a halt following a discovery of an unexploded bomb dating back to World War II near the tracks. This is from the AP, but it's published over at abcnews.go.com. There is no byline other than AP, Associated Press. It says, we invite travelers to postpone their trip if you are prepared to travel. Bombs left over from World War I and II are regularly discovered around France, but it's very rare to find them in such a people-packed location. Usually they've been found and dug up and exploded somewhere else, or in situ, and then the pieces are taken away. But there's precautions that need to be made. France's national train operator, SNCF, said in a statement that traffic would be stopped at the Gare du Nord, until mid-morning at the request of police. Again, this is a time machine episode, but I'm finding it kind of fascinating that we're still finding World War II bombs. Okay, the next article is over in ohmTown. There's a direct link to it, but something happened with it. It still exists, but it's not been categorized yet. So see the world's smallest park, a teeny tiny enclave in Japan that's about the size of 4 sheets of paper. And Sarah Kuda over at Smithsonian Magazine or smithsonianmag.com put the article together, and there is somebody measuring it. Fumika Fujibuchi is an official adjudicator for the Guinness World Records, which basically allows anything in nowadays, as long as you frame it in such a way that somebody else can compete to beat it. There you go. Does it qualify as a park? It's a certified the park in late February as being the smallest, 2.6 square feet, 372 square inches, about the same size as 4 sheets of printer paper placed next to each other. It's just a weird thing. Anyway, the park was constructed in 1988, not far from Nagazumi Town Hall, to make best use of the free space on the road. I don't get this, but okay. I mean, it could be a whole lot bigger because there's a blacktop around it. It's just a bricked in whatever. Anyway, despite its diminutive size, the park is far from empty. It has some grass, a seat, and a decorative stepping stone. It was constructed in 1988. They hired a professional surveyor to take exact measurements of the park and then submitted the application to Guinness World Records. So there you have it. There was a former one, 3.1 square feet. It held the record since 1971. Locals like to joke that the family of leprechauns live in the Mills End Park. The little green men were outraged when they learned that the park's title had been taken away, says Mark Ross, a spokesperson for the Portland Parks and Recreation Department. But that's it right there. That's silly. But all right. Hey, why not make it bigger? They could have made it a whole lot bigger, but I guess not. On the traffic island, he saw an ugly concrete skirt around a hole that was full of weeds, a spot where a streetlight was supposed to have been installed during the rose planting week in 1954. Fagan, who is a Portland resident, planted flowers on a traffic island in the middle of a busy Naito Parkway. At the time, Fagan was a reporter and columnist for the Oregon Journal newspaper, which had offices overlooking Naito Parkway, then called Front Avenue. Every time he peered out of his window, he looked at the traffic island. So he planted, jokingly, a rose bush in 1969. He died. And it was the article that they wrote about the prank in their column called Mill's End, named for the bits and pieces of wood left over after a lumber mill. So, yeah, the joke continued. But anyway, there's another park, 374 square inch pollinator garden in Talent, Oregon, nearly dethroned Mill's End in 2022, but organizers of Talent didn't go through all of the steps to get their park certified by Guinness World Records, and now it's been kiboshed by a 372-inch, 2.6 square feet mini park. All right, let's keep going. The next article is over on the Mobile Channel. Intuitive Machines moonlander confirmed dead after toppling onto its side for the second time, apparently. The Athena lander will not be able to recharge its batteries due to the orientation of its solar panels. When you click that little link, you get taken over to gizmodo.com, and Passant Robbie put the article together. Yeah, this is a picture of the moon from the lander that's laying on its side. So someone done goofed. Athena touched down on the moon on Thursday around 12:30 p.m. Its landing was less than ideal, however, as the lander ended up 250 meters away from its targeted landing site, located in the southern pole region of the moon. Images downlinked from the mission confirmed that Athena had landed on its side inside a crater and its batteries had died. With the direction of the sun, the orientation of the solar panels, and extreme cold temperatures of the crater, Intuitive Machines does not expect Athena to recharge. The mission has concluded, and teams are continuing to assess the data collected throughout the mission. This is the second time that a lander by Intuitive Machines has toppled sideways and represents a blow to the company's goal of launching payloads to the moon on a regular basis. Hey, you know what? They should just let it destroy itself in orbit after takeoff, and then you'll get millions of dollars. And oh, never mind. The next article is over in Prime Glass. Tourist tax on UK national museums would be ideologically at odds with global collections, says new report. The report also describes the idea of charging international visitors as logistically complex. I don't see how that is. Charge them at the location. So Gareth Harris put the article together. It's over at the artnewspaper.com. This is last July. Mark Jones, the former interim director of the British Museum, said that the admission fee of £20 should be introduced for overseas visitors. It would make sense for us to charge overseas visitors for admission to museums as they charge us when we visit their museums. The biggest visitor attraction in Britain are our great museums and galleries, yet that does not translate into the resources needed to maintain them. But last month, when writing for Financial Times, the director of Victoria and Albert Museum, Tristram Hunt, offered a few words of caution. Hunt pointed to evidence showing that visitor numbers fall significantly with the charging of admission fees, affecting knock-on spending in museum shops and catering. The Treasury also has a nasty habit of lowering public funding as it sees self-generated income growing. Okay, but if you become self-sufficient, then you don't need to lean on the taxpayers, right? Weird how that... Okay. And in fact, I think taxpayers should probably... Well, the growth of sociopathy is real, so let's not mince words. People don't want to pay something that they don't benefit from, and if you don't make a connection to something as ethereal as a museum to their existence, people don't want to pay, taxes or otherwise. So unfortunately, the rise of sociopathy is leading to this kind of ideological bent. It goes on to stress that the UK's policy of free admission is integral to the country's national education system as a cornerstone of making culture and information accessible to all, including school children, which has been maintained by successive governments since 2001, when it was reintroduced by the previous Labour government. There's also an underlying and important walk-in principle to the public, which is a bedrock of the policy. So they basically say that it's going to be too complex and too much of a friction point. In a separate document, the Cultural Policy Unit advocates for a 3 to 5% tourism charge on overnight stays to fund cultural infrastructure across England. This visitor charge is routine in other cities such as Venice and New York. Let's keep on going. The next article is over in Non Sequitur News. A passenger spent 8 hours on a transatlantic flight and then turned around about 300 miles from North America. It's probably because it has... never mind. Anyway, Virgin Atlantic passenger spent 8 hours on a flight that returned to the UK. The flight turned around about 330 miles off the coast of Canada. A Manchester airport spokesperson said the Airbus A350 may have had a problem with its hydraulics, so why turn around? I guess it was safer to just turn around. Doesn't make sense. Anyway, it was flying from Flight 3 was heading from London Heathrow Airport to New York's JFK. Pardon me. Yeah, I mean, it was 60% across the pond. So Pete Sim or Syme over at businessinsider.com put the article together. They say it may have had problems, but the Virgin Atlantic spokesperson said in a statement that the flight returned as a precautionary measure, citing technical issues. They said, and then later in the article it says again they may have had hydraulic issues. They added that the flight was met by airport fire service, which was protocol for a technical issue and very much precautionary in this instance. So I guess it didn't land upside down. And they apologized for the delay and any inconvenience. They were given accommodations and returned. So the next article is over in Non Sequitur News. We're moving on. She thought she'd won $1.4 million. They tried to pay her just $26,000, and she didn't take no for an answer. British woman who won a legal case against a bookmaker over an unpaid $1 million prize, Corinne Derber, initially won a $1.4 million jackpot, but was later paid a lower prize of $26,000. She took gambling firm Paddy Power to court, and this week was awarded the full prize. Yeah, interesting. The article is over at businessinsider.com. Nora Redmond put the article together. So I'm really curious how she won this. After clicking the spin, Derber was informed that she'd won the monster jackpot of 1.4 million US dollars. By the way, US dollar is collapsing against the euro. Instead, she was paid just 26,160 or 20,000 pounds by Paddy Power, the amount due if Derber had won the daily jackpot instead. The case, which reached the UK's High Court, said that no explanation was given for why the sum changed to a much smaller figure. Paddy Power said that she should have won the daily jackpot, but because of the programming issue, the Monster System segment lit up. Yeah, they usually kind of pull that kind of BS. When a trader puts all the risk on a consumer for its own recklessness, negligence, errors, inadequate digital services, and inadequate testing, that appears onerous to me, says High Court Justice Andrew Ritchie. Speaking to PA Media after the decision, Derber said, "As you can imagine, I am so relieved and happy that the judge has confirmed that I fairly and squarely won £1 million from Paddy Power. I will never bet with them again." Whoops. Now that they got the money. Anyway, every week, tens of thousands of customers win with Paddy Power, including an individual who received a $5.7 million jackpot just 1 year ago, which is a statement made by the Paddy Power owners, Flutter UKI. Well, you know what? I guess you should evaluate your machines more. All right, the last article for the March 7th Non Sequitur News is did America's least hated printer take a turn for the worse? An apparent misunderstanding over Brother Printers highlights companies' power to botch products you already own. Apparently an update went out, and the update basically says it's they say in this article it's a little bit different, but this is the one that led me to another one that's over at Ars Technica, which may actually be in ohmTown too, but I had already grabbed this. Apparently they made an update, and it says Brother Printers are popular recommendations over at the Ars Technica by Sharon Harding. That link says that if users install third-party cartridges, some printers outright block third-party, but apparently on March 3rd, YouTuber Louis Rossmann posted a video saying that brother turns heel and becomes anti-consumer printer company. The video, spotted by Tom's Hardware, had 163,000 views. Then a Reddit user, 20 Factorial, said that the firmware update W1.56 caused the automatic color registration feature to stop working when he was using third-party cartridges. So with the colors not able to be aligned, the printer is effectively non-functional. So Rossmann created a wiki page breaking down the reported issues. It says most of the claims are coming from people online. It's impossible to confirm the accuracy of the reports and whether or not user error or some other selected cartridges are the issue. But yeah, there's going to have to be some more due diligence. And let me know if you have a brother printer and you have updated to the latest. This isn't for laser printers, apparently. Let me know if by using a third party, your brother printer has eaten itself alive. But with that in mind, we are going to do an inkjet clearing utility, and that's going to bring us back to the front page of ohmtown.com for March 7th, 2025. I'm going to get out of the time machine and reset everything so that we have Reality Hacker, and then Wanted, and then the continuity report on Saturday, March 8th. So be sure to follow us over on Twitch and YouTube when we go live. See you then. Bye-bye.